Hey, thanks for finding me here and for joining me on how to write a speech about yourself. Now, you're probably trying to figure out, okay, how can I share without sounding like I'm bragging, or maybe I don't want to sound too pompous, but I do have a lot that I've done in my life and I need to share about myself. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about some of the ways that you can create that speech about yourself, but remember, it's always about the audience, even when you're talking about yourself. And we'll get to that in just a little bit. I'm Hall of Fame speaker Jason Hewlett. I've been speaking and writing speeches for a couple of decades. I'm glad that you're here. Let's jump right in. So when it comes to writing a speech about yourself, like I said, it is actually about the audience. And now that may sound like it's a little tricky to say, but here's the point. When we talk about ourselves, we can be talking about ourselves in the sense of the audience receiving something special for themselves. In other words, when we say things about our accomplishments, when we tell them the story of our lives or examples of things that we've been through that have been difficult, we give them permission as an audience to listen to us and say, oh, I can do that too. Or, man, I'm glad I didn't go through that. Or, how can I learn something special from this person? When it comes to knowing your audience, that takes a little bit of homework. And so make sure before you get on that stage, don't just think I'm speaking about myself. Think I'm speaking about myself in order to serve the audience. That also means that you've done your homework. You've talked to the event planner about what the audience needs to hear within your story. I've heard speakers all over the world only tell the one story about the one thing they went through. In fact, I remember recently I heard Aaron Ralston. He's the guy that got trapped in Canyonlands in Utah while he was climbing alone. A rock fell on his arm, pinned him, and he was alone for 127 hours until he realized he just needed to leverage his body in order to break the bones and cut his own arm off. Crazy story. Yes, he's talking about himself, but he's making it about the audience, how they can survive hard things, how they can get through anything. I'm telling you, there is a way for this to happen as long as you know the audience intention to have you there, what they need from you, and make sure that you know the demographics, the makeup of the people, what they do for their work, and any details that you can in order to serve them through your story. The first thing you want to do when you get on that stage is to begin with impact. I mean, you want to start with a story that'll captivate them. Obviously, a story about a guy standing on stage with just one arm, you're interested already. Obviously, he has a movie made about him and books have been written. But how about yourself? Are you an Olympian? Are you a climber? Are you a great athlete? Okay, maybe not. Are you a musician? Are you an amazing entrepreneur? Have you founded a lot of great businesses or invented something? Hey, maybe not. Are you an awesome dad or mom? Are you somebody who's a great spiritual leader? Are you somebody who does a lot of things physically that most people can't? In other words, you can do marathons or you can climb mountains. Whatever yours is, every single one of us has something, and your story is that to tell. But open with something really compelling, such as you could start with a great quote, or you could start with the very end of the story in order to start telling it. Now, these types of techniques are really powerful. And when you share your story with impact and you begin in a way that really gets everybody blown away, you could share a visual on stage, some kind of video to set it up, but start with impact. I would say next you want to define your purpose, the purpose of telling your story. So I like to couch this as a way to say, this is my promise to you, or this is my promise to myself in order to share this with you. Then the audience understands where you're going. Defining your purpose allows them to realize that you're taking them on a journey, on a path, and that you're going to share with them, the reason I'm here today and sharing with you my story is so that you can understand what your purpose is as well. Showcasing your authenticity is also of the essence. Don't stand up on that stage and impersonate somebody else trying to give a speech. Be yourself. And yes, I'm somebody who does voices and impersonation, and yeah, that's part of my shtick. But when I'm speaking, I'm authentic. I'm being myself. I'm vulnerable. I share the warts, and it's okay. I also share how I get through the challenges in order to live my best life. People want our authenticity. You're the only one with your message, so don't shy away from it. Stand confidently in it and share it. Next, it's important to highlight your unique value. You see, you have stories, you have experiences, you've done things that other people haven't. The audience wants to know about it. They don't know about it unless you share it. And often it might feel like bragging, but in reality, it's about sharing in order to give them an example of how they can showcase their greatness in life as well. And so don't hide your unique value. Make sure to share it as best as possible. And a lot of singers do this really well. Singers do it because their unique voice is what gets them to have fans. And so if you think about a singer, you don't want them to all sound the same. There's a reason you like a certain person more than another, and it's because of their signature moves, their signature voice, their signature sound. So my question for you, if you're not that singer, you're a speaker, what are your signature moves? What is it that makes me want to lean in and listen to you? When it comes to your signature moves, you may not have identified those yet, but it's okay. We're going to help you clarify and magnify them now. I'm going to offer you something that's so cool, and I want you to go grab it. This is a free gift to you in order to establish for yourself what your signature moves are. So go to jasonhewlett.com/ICM. I'm going to take you through the ICM process. And when you go through this process, you're going to identify those traits that make you uniquely who you are, and then you'll clarify with others what they see in you. Now you can magnify your gifts. Don't hide your uniqueness. Share it with the world. In fact, I do these things with my lips that are weird. Do you think I hide that? No, that's a big part of my speech. That's something I talk about myself. And as I do that, it gives the audience courage to share theirs. Let's talk about structuring your storytelling. When it comes to the way that a speech goes, you want to have a start, a middle, and a close. You want to have a common thread that goes throughout. It's about storytelling. A lot of the times I'll say 3 points in a poem to create a good speech about yourself, but in this case I might say 3 stories and a point. You've already shared what your promise is. Hey, I promise I'm going to share this, or this is my life purpose and promise. Now, give some supporting stories as to why you came to that conclusion. I've made a promise to myself to spread joy. And so when I say that, that allows me to then say, this is why I share this in every single presentation. And then I share my story of sharing joy throughout the world. I've talked a little bit about this, but incorporating vivid imagery is so helpful. You know, you can share slides or videos up on the screen, and that's really cool. You can go and get some copyright-free images if it matches up with what you're talking about. Especially I would recommend using photos from your life because you're talking about yourself. So sharing some photos from your past is cool. However, you don't want it to look like you're just going through a scrapbook and sharing some old photos from the high school prom. It has to have a reason. And so make sure that every photo and the imagery lends itself to the story you're sharing. I also want to encourage you to consider this. ChatGPT and AI allows you to create imagery that's supportive of your message. This is one of the greatest tools that's ever been created, and I would recommend you check it out. Another cool thing with a speech about yourself is you can spark engagement with the audience. It's not just about talking at them and sharing your story alone. You could actually ask questions about things that they may think that you're headed towards. For example, I'll share a picture of a bunch of celebrities and I'll say, who do you guys think I wanted to impersonate as when I started my career in Las Vegas? And people will shout out, Frank Sinatra or Elvis Presley or Cher. And then I go, you're a smart aleck. But then in reality, I'm leading them into a place where I'm going to say, I impersonated Elton John. He's the great musical artist. And then everybody sings along to a song with that. This creates some nice audience engagement. Now, I've included them within the story. I've allowed them to shout out who they think I am going to become in my show that I eventually got to be a part of. And so how can you incorporate the audience, engaging them, whether it's by asking questions, having them stand and do something, or even filling out a form or a survey, and that allows you to do something really special, engaging the audience. As you end your speech with impact, you want to say something that's incredibly profound, or something that they'll walk away saying, gosh, I want to implement that into my life. A lot of the times when speakers speak and writers write and coaches coach, they like to say, put the best story at the beginning and then do something good at the end. What I like to say is maybe take your second best story and put it at the beginning to create that impact, and then take your best bit and use it as the closer. Remember, the closing piece is what they're going to remember the most. And so what I like to do as a closing piece very often is I'll share my funny faces and how I discovered that about myself. This is not just about making them laugh, although they do a lot. This is a courage piece. This is a permission piece. This is a bravery piece. In other words, I'm sharing all these goofy faces and I'm saying lines such as, "The light you shine is the light you receive," or "You have talents I don't have and I have talents you don't want." These types of things allow the audience to think, what are my talents? What are my gifts? And I always say as a closer, thank you for enjoying this presentation today. I hope it's helped you to live the promise. When I share something to that effect, it gives something of a firm stamp on what I'm talking about. I've been talking about how they can live a promise in their life and how I have in mine, and then it gives them permission to go and do the same. When you write a speech about yourself, remember it's not just about you, it's about the audience, but your examples, your stories, you're the only one with them. I hope you've identified, clarified, and magnified them, because those are your signature moves. If you haven't yet, go to jasonhewlett.com/ICM. I'm excited for you to go through this process. It's going to change your life. Please like and subscribe as well. I appreciate you joining me here. Excited for your speech that you're going to write about yourself.